The solo mode basically came out of sort of what I like to say divine intervention. It's more or less me being crazy. What you have are 3 simpler units and a little more complex duo. The rules for this are on the same printed page, so you can kind of feel out. I give you a little description about little picky things for each unit. So I have my 1 unit built here. So I have my normal slot value 8, and then I have a 5 and a 3. Normal rules are going to go on about how turns work. I have the initiative. I'll go first. Basically, the player's always going to go first in this. Now, let's go with some of the easier ones first. For these, you'll probably need a few more counters. I'll just chuck a bunch here. So for the Fireball pack, you're looking at having 3 units, each starting at health 3, structural value of 3. And you'll need a counter just to kind of keep track of their turn. At the beginning of every AI turn, you discard a card per card. Why that matters? The duo here will discard 2 cards. The rest of these, even though this one has 3 units, is only going to discard 1 card from the top of your draw stack. So, obviously, there would be my draw stack. It's set up. I go about my turns. I have my 3 cards, and I keep playing. It's just to keep the deck cycling so you're not stuck in a rut. You're going to, have a chance of drawing different cards. So, on this turn for the Fireball pack, basically, this thing is packed with SRMs. That's what the Fireballs were. They were very fast. They were light. They carried SRMs. They were meant to just come out and hit people. The attacks on A and C turns are basically you have an attack 3, damage 2, and it happens for each unit. So this would be 2 times if this guy blew up. Otherwise, you're generally defending 3 times. That's going to add up very quickly. You are probably going to concentrate fire, take one of these guys out, and move from there. All units defense 1. Now you can, on this one, spend 1 action, or each unit basically ignores the first damage that would be dealt to them. That kind of matters. It just sort of depends on how things go. I'll explain in a second how you can kind of mitigate this, but for now, it's 1 versus 1. So that's the Fireball pack. Simpler one is kind of a straight-up heads-up fight, the Hunter unit. I'll try to actually bring that up as it's less stuff. So on its first turn, it has +1 defense against missiles. So you actually almost get 2 free attacks on this guy. Then it goes to having a Gauss rifle. It fires. If it hits you, it moves on. If it doesn't hit you, it goes back out. Basically, this guy is not going to move in until it softens you up. That's why you see the up-down arrow on turn B. If it's softened you up, it's coming down to LRM range, fires out those missiles. Whether it hits or not, doesn't matter, it's still closing. Triple pulse laser shot. Boom, 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 boom. You have to defend 3 times. It is going to take 1 heat for overloading its heat sinks, and regardless if it hits you or not, it goes back to A. It's going to move out of distance, cool itself down, get itself back ready to fire off the Gauss rifle. 6 structure. It's going to provide a challenge. The defense against missiles simply is that for guys like the gunner or the speed units that are going to rely on missiles, this guy is going to be very defensive until it softens you up. So by staying out at range, AMS system is just going to, hold it down. Only need 2 counters, 1 for structure, 1 for turn count. Real easy. This one I'm actually kind of proud of. So the Crazed Aggressor, let's see if this thing will focus. There we go. Roll 1d6 and then apply this. This is meant for 2 units, like 2, whether you design 2 mechs or you go into an alternate later, and then you apply these things. So, dodging the first attack from each unit, because again, this is meant for 2 units. Whether it's 2 players or you want to double fist it, that's fine. Here's a Gauss rifle. Here is both the AMS and the machine gun. Here is an SRM. Plus 2 defense against all attacks. Basically, this guy is insane. It just has like a double ECM sort of thing. Obviously, that doesn't actually exist, but for the sake of challenge, that's here. And then here is a PPC. You'll notice the attack 4. Whoever it hits, it'll exhaust all the weapons. Now, I have it specifically set to weapons. It will not exhaust your equipment. So only things with an attack on them will be exhausted by its PPC. It is not going to roll once for each unit. It'll roll once for its turn and then go on. It has targeting, so this one here attacks the lowest structural value. Basically, your weakest guy is going to hit. This one hits your strongest because it wants to exhaust their weapons. Here, you can choose who gets hit by this. Based if someone wants to run in front of them, that's how it goes. Now, let's go on to the duo. This one I'm actually kind of proud of. For anyone who actually knows their lore, Hammer and Anvil is actually a duo from the Mech. The little text square here is the same on both, so I can just kind of cover it up. Basically, unlike the other ones that have a progressive turn structure, there we go. Unlike the other ones that have progressive turn structure, these are going to stick and keep with the same option. So this one, the hammer, is going to start with 3 LRM counts. So for 3 turns, it just keeps firing those missiles. If you can blow it up before it hits its 3rd set, good for you. You don't have to worry about the rest of this text. Once it's out of ammo, attacking the lowest, because the whole point is this guy's meant to soften them up, it switches to lasers. Keeps hitting lasers. Once it gets less than 3, so once it gets here to your 2, it'll then switch over to here to defense 1. If you can get one more hit on it, this guy will run. It's that simple, because it's out of missiles, it's going to die, it's getting out of there. The guy is meant to soften him up. The Anvil, aka the rocket's going to smash you into, it's all lasers. I believe it was 2 large lasers, 2 mediums. Anyway, you'll get the idea. This is firing based on extended range laser. For 4 attack, it'll take on 1 heat. Once you get to full 3 heat, it comes down here. It'll then cool down from 3, then to here, then to here, and then come running back in. Now, when this starts off, it starts off with no heat. Once it's in battle, it'll always have heat on it. So it'll attack, boom, boom. You know, attack for its first 3 turns, then take 2 to cool down. Attack for another 2, cool down. This one has +1 defense until the armor's gone, so you need to take it. Now, it's going to take a good couple shots to take this out, so it's hard to hit until you get that out, and then you work on the structure value. In this duo, you're going to obviously just work and see whether or not you can take them both down. I mentioned before about having 2 units. Let me get this to autofocus. There we go. So I had mentioned before about an alternate. The way these things are worded, you'll see very often that these will... come on. I haven't picked out whether or not... I think at the moment this is just kind of meant for a 1v1. This will probably change to accommodate the variant that I'm going to explain now. All the rest of these have targeting preferences. I shouldn't say all. The hunter unit isn't quite there yet. But these guys have targeting preferences. For the hunter unit, you'll just make the same decisions. But let's just say you want to come with the Crazed Aggressor. You could actually have him... There we go. There we go. As your wingman. Now, when it comes to your turn, assuming you have a wingman, let's just say you're doing Crazed Aggressor, you have your gunner built, you're going to fight your hammer and anvil. So it's 2-on-2. Fair enough fight. These guys have targeting preferences, which means they will choose which you to keep firing on. So it'll be a 2-on-2. These guys do have targeting preferences where you will see, if I can get this thing to focus, you will see that this one attacks, the lowest one all the time. This one seems to attack the highest one. There will be a clear distinction. Obviously, in a solo game, you can choose between ties. You can choose, this one has targeting requirements, so it will follow these targeting requirements on here. If you take on a partner, heck, if you wanted to, you could have the hammer and anvil with you, take those guys over there, make it interesting, heck, throw in the fireball pack, have an absolute showdown, 5-on-3, go crazy. But you are going to discard those cards, the cycle cards, to simulate that these guys are playing cards. So, because you're going to have way more cards than you would in a 2-player game. There are 15 of these, 2 are sitting here, so with 13, 3 in your hand, 10 to cycle through, it's a lot more stuff going on. Now, just to clarify, these are solo bots. They take a turn. Why I'm mentioning that, you get 2 actions every turn. On their turn, you go through things, you will still get your 2 actions. Obviously, you can't fire because it's not your turn. You still can draw 2, you can cool weapons down. It is going to be very fast-paced. So you're making all those decisions. Hopefully this helps. Let me know if anything's confusing, if you got any input. I'm still kind of designing some other bots. Thank you very much for taking a look. Hopefully we will get this pushed even further.